So in this video, we're going to be going over the Comfort Gear PPH360-18 portable 360-degree heater. And whenever you receive the heater, it'll come in this box here, and it'll have some styrofoam on the bottom, styrofoam on the top, and it'll be wrapped in plastic. Literally just open the top of the box, reach in and pull it out and set it down. You'll have your instruction manual here, and it also comes with a AAA battery. Now, one thing about this heater that is really needed is it does not require any kind of electricity. All you need is just a AAA battery to ignite it, and it runs on 1 pound propane cylinders, or if you have the hose kit, it's an additional option that you can purchase. You can hook it to a 20 pound propane tank, and just like you would use on a gas grill. And so I'm gonna show you how to hook it all up and get it going. So first things first, we're gonna start by installing the AAA battery here in the bottom of the unit. But before we flip the unit over, we want to make sure that the knob is over here in the off position, where you can see it's pointing this way. And then we're going to flip the unit over on the bottom, and then there is a cap right here. It's plastic, and you're just going to unscrew it, just turning it counterclockwise, and the little cap will look just like this here. And then you'll take your AAA battery and you'll install it with the positive side facing outward. And when I say facing outward, I mean pointing out towards the bottom. So there'll be a little nipple there on the bottom of it, and it will be facing out towards the bottom. And then you reinstall that cap, and then just make sure that when you tighten it up that you don't cross thread it or anything. You just tighten it up finger tight, and then there you go. That part is done. So on this heater here, it has 2 doors, one on each side, and you just mash in with your thumb and it opens up, and you can see that you've got room for a 1 pound cylinder to fit in here. And then the same thing on the other side. It's pretty much identical. You open the door and you've got room for your 1 pound cylinder. You can see on this side it has your warning label and all that attached so you don't lose it. We're going to go ahead and start on this side. We're going to open the door. What you're going to do is start out by locating this regulator here. And this regulator has a swivel on it. And the reason it is swiveled is so when you go to stick your tank in there, it gives you more room to maneuver the tank so you can thread it onto the threads there on that swivel regulator. Once you thread it down, then the tank will set down into the unit and you can close the door. I've got a couple of tanks here. Now, whenever I get the tank, they come with caps on top of the tanks usually. And I've noticed here lately that some of the tanks that I've been getting have some paint and residual dirt on them. So I always take just a microfiber towel and I clean the threads off, and I just wipe the inner part of the tank. Just make sure it's clean. And you can see it was a little bit dirty right there. Got some oil, maybe some paint or something on there. And I do that with both tanks. It only takes a second just to wipe them off. Locate that regulator right there, and then I'm going to point it out. I'm going to take the tank and I'm going to thread it in there. Turn it to the right, which would be clockwise, and it takes a few turns to get it fully seated in there, but you can see it's starting to tighten up. Now, you don't go crazy with this. You just tighten it up to where it's hand tight. And then what you want to do is take just a spray bottle with water and some dishwashing liquid, and then I take and I spray in here and see if there's any kind of bubbles. But you can see if there was any kind of leakage or anything, that those bubbles would be moving around in there and blowing up and getting bigger. And so this is a crucial step. You definitely don't want any kind of leaks. So it only takes a second just to spray a little soapy water in there, and then after you've seen that there's no leaks, then you can just go back and dry it off. So now that we've checked it for leaks, and we're going to go ahead and close the door, and then we're going to repeat the same process on the other side. We're going to open the door there, and then I'm going to pull the swivel regulator out, and then I'm going to install the propane cylinder. And again, you're just gonna put it in there and turn it clockwise. Just got to use a little bit of common sense and don't go crazy tightening things up. And you know, if you do see a leak, do not use the heater. Disregard using the heater. You do not want to, you know, get yourself hurt. So that's why we're just taking a little extra precaution and spraying it around that bottle. And like I said, if there was any kind of leak, you would smell like a rotten egg odor, or you would see some bubbles, you know, getting bigger and moving around in there. But everything looks like it's sealed up and there's no leaks. So we're gonna just take and dry it off. With this heater, you can use these 2 1-pound cylinders, or you can get the optional 12-foot hose kit here. And this just costs a little bit of extra money. And the reason you would use this is for hooking it up to a 20-pound propane cylinder. And I'll show you more about this here in just a minute. All right, so before we go ahead and ignite the heater, I just wanted to run you through and get you familiar with the heater, so when we go to ignite it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So the first thing that I want to point out to you is right here at the very back. And this is where your electronic igniter is located. And so whenever you set your pilot light, you'll see a little flame come out right here at the tip of that highlighter, and that is completely normal. That is basically your pilot light, so you can light the heater. Turn it back around, and I wanted to show you right here. This is your control area right here, and I've got it set to the off position, and you can see there's a little arrow right here on the end of the knob, and it's pointing to the off position. And then right here at the very top, that is your pilot position. And then over here on the side, you've got your adjuster. So there is high right here at the very top, and then you know, low here at the bottom, and you can adjust it in between. When you go to light it, one thing that you will have to do is depress this. So when you depress this, you can hear the igniter start clicking, and it sounds like a click like on a gas grill. You can definitely hear it, but right over here is where it is going to, that clicking noise is going to be coming from. Now, what you're going to do is to light the heater, you're going to depress in on the button, and then when you depress it, you're going to turn it counterclockwise till you reach the pilot position at the very top. And I'm going to show you here on the back while I'm pushing in and depressing it and putting it to the pilot position. Now, when you first put the tanks in there, it takes a few minutes for the pilot to light, just because there's no gas in the lines. So don't be alarmed if you have to hold it there for, you know, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute to get that gas up to that igniter for it to go ahead and light. So I have already lit it, and so it's going to light a little bit easier for me than what it will for you, because I've already gotten gas up through the lines, and it's right there at the igniter. So I'm going to go ahead and depress and turn it to the ignite. And now you can see the little flame there in the back, and you have to sit there and hold it for about 30 seconds, and it'll eventually light the whole area up. And what I mean by area, it'll light that center area up, and it will go ahead and just like that right there. And you can see, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there's definitely flame there. And I've got it set in the high mode right now. Now it's going to take it a minute or two before it starts glowing orange. I can already start seeing it there on the bottom, and it's probably not showing up too well in here because we've got a lot of lights on, but it takes it just a minute or two, and you can already see there it goes. It's already starting to turn orange. But I can go ahead and tell you, this thing is putting out some good heat. Like I said before, you can adjust it down to a lower setting just by turning it counterclockwise. And then if you want to turn it back up to high, you turn it clockwise, and right in there is your high, right in there is your low. Very, very simple to operate. All right, so it's been running for a minute or two, and it's getting a little hot in here, so just wanted to show you guys how to turn the unit off. So what you'll do is take and turn the knob clockwise until you get all the way over here to the off position. And so it's very easy to turn on and get it lit and to turn off. And there's, like I said in the very beginning, you don't have to put anything together. It already has the guard around it, and you know, all you have to do is just install that battery and install the two propane cylinders, and you are good to go. Now, whenever you first turn the heater on for the first time, you might notice a little bit of a smell, or you might see some discolored, like yellow flames or something like that, and that's perfectly normal. It is like some of the residual oils just from some of the parts, you know, where they manufacture the unit. The oil used during manufacturing process needs to burn off. This can take up to 60 minutes of continuous burning. Some odor or yellow flames may occur during this time, but will diminish after the burn-in period. It is recommended not to use the heater in windy conditions. This heater may flutter, reducing the effectiveness of the appliance, and could have excessive pilot outages. So it also says when operating the heater at altitudes over 7,000 feet above sea level, the unit may not burn as bright as in lower altitudes. This is normal. At higher altitudes, the heater may shut off. If this happens, provide fresh air, wait 5 minutes, and relight. Due to local atmospheric conditions, the heater may not relight. When moving heater, when lit or bumping heater, the tip over switch may shut off the heater. If this happens, just relight it. And also one thing to note that it's highlighted in the instructions is do not remove this guard that's around there, and do not try to cook on it. I know it's very tempting to want to put a pan on there and, you know, warm some water up or something like that, but it says in the manual, do not try to cook on it or remove that guard. So I'm going to go ahead and answer some of the questions that I'm sure you guys are wondering about with this heater. And on this particular heater, this thing puts out on low 13,500 BTUs, and then on high it goes up to 18,000. Now, if you're running this heater, you cannot run it on just one propane tank. You have to run it on two 1-pound propane tanks, or you can run it on the one 20-pound propane tank, as long as you have the optional hose. Now, if you're wondering about the run times and all that, it says for the two 1-pound cylinders, on high you can get 2.4 hours, and you got to keep in mind that's putting out 18,000 BTUs on high, so that's really hot. And then on medium you can get 4.7 hours, and then on low you can run this for 10.7 hours, and that's putting out at 13,500 BTUs. As far as the 20-pound propane cylinder, you can get a lot more time out of those. It'll run on high for 24 hours. It'll run on medium for 48 hours, or on low for 108 hours. I mean, that's impressive, 108 hours. So next, we're going to go ahead and show you how to hook the heater up to the 20-pound propane tank. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, first and foremost, it's illegal to bring a 20-pound propane tank inside your house. You're only supposed to use the 20-pound tanks outside, and you're only supposed to use this heater inside, just with the smaller LP tanks. So keep that in mind. Don't use the 20-pound tanks inside your home. So one thing to note with these heaters is you do not want to leave these little 1-pound propane cylinders connected to the heater when it's not in use. So go ahead and take them loose, and the way that you do that is just go ahead and pretty much reverse the process. You open the door, lift up on the propane bottle, and then you're going to turn it counterclockwise. Now, one thing to mention with these little 1-pound propane cylinders, it says here in the manual, it says the 1-pound cylinders must be Department of Transportation, DOT, constructed and approved, and have an outlet connection compatible with a CGA 600 fitting. And if you look on the front, it tells you right here that it's DOT approved. Next, we're going to go ahead and show you how to connect the heater to a 20-pound propane tank. So stay tuned. So if you want to hook this heater up to a 20-pound tank, you can get this kit here. You'll have to purchase it separately, but this is a 20-7512F is the part number. And what this is a 12-foot hose with a fuel filter there in the middle. And we're going to go ahead and open it up. I'm going to show you how to install it. And I'll go ahead and let you know that the directions are right here on the paperwork on the back. So you'll go ahead and start out by opening the door. You'll locate the little swivel regulator there, and then you'll go ahead and locate the fuel filter, and then there'll be a little plastic cap right here that you'll just remove. And I would hold on to that, so in case you're not using this, you can put that cap right back over top of it, and you know, keep it closed up so it stays nice and clean on the inside. And then next, what you want to do is locate the male threads on the fuel filter, and then you just want to turn it clockwise and go ahead and tighten it up. It takes a few twists, and it's the same thing as, you know, installing the propane tanks. You don't want to go crazy on tightening it up. And then you'll want to locate this end here, the one with the cap. It's got a plastic cap on it to keep it nice and clean, and it might take you a second to unscrew that plastic cap from that brass fitting, but you can see right in there, there's a little grip here for you to hold on to. It's got like a knurled edge on it. What you'll want to do is just turn the brass cap to the left and kind of pull up on the cap at the same time. There we go. But once you get it loose, you'll just leave the cap on there, so when you're done with the hose, you can reinstall it just to keep the hose nice and clean. Make sure no contaminants get down in there. And it said in the manual that you don't have to use the fuel filter, but it's suggested just simply because it'll help keep all the contaminants from entering the heater, and, you know, make your heater just last longer. And, you know, also if you got some of those 20-pound propane tanks, some of those are old and you don't know if there's, you know, oil or, you know, maybe some rust or something like that that can travel up that hose that could get into the heater and probably block some of those orifices and keep it from, you know, being able to light. So I definitely recommend you just getting the kit here with the little fuel filter on there. It just makes sense. And then next, you're going to take and raise that fuel filter up and just support it with one hand, and then you're going to put the hose up there. And keep in mind, you're not in a hurry when you're doing this. Just take your time, make sure that, you know, the threads are lined up, and, you know, if you're not sure, turn it back counterclockwise, then start back over again. You're in no hurry, because you do not want to cross thread this out. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, and it might take you a time or two, but you'll know, just like now, you'll know once it's correct, because it'll start turning very easy. You won't have to force it. You do not need any kind of tools to tighten it up. Just want to do it hand tight. You're going to take this end and you're going to connect it to a 20-pound propane tank. You'll want to take and turn the gas on the propane tank on, and then you'll want to go and spray right there at the threads here on top and right here at the bottom, and check and see if there's any kind of bubbles that start swelling up and moving around. And, you know, also, you know, smell and see if you smell any kind of rotten egg smell. And, you know, if you do, you know, you've got a leak. And, you know, if you've got a leak, do not try to start the heater. Make sure that you get all of the leaks fixed before you even think about starting the heater. It only takes a second just to use the spray bottle, and, you know, you're not going to hurt anything by spraying it with water. You know, you always go back and dry it off, and it literally just takes a second, and this is your most important step. Follow the directions that I showed you. You know, if there's something that I didn't go over, then refer back to your owner's manual. So after you run your hose over to your 20-pound propane tank, make sure there's no kinks in it, and then you want to come back over here to the heater, and then you want to go ahead and close the door. And you can see right in here on the outside of the door there is a notch cut out just for the hose to fit in there. And the reason they did that is so that, you know, it acts as a pretty much as a strain relief to keep that hose from getting pulled, and you know, it just looks nice with that door closed. And basically make sure you don't pull on this hose, knock the heater over or any of that. You don't want to cause a fire. You know, just use common sense with it. And obviously you don't have kids or pets, you know, near this thing where it can get pushed over or they could get burned or any of that. So this heater has a tip over switch that's built into the heater. So whenever, you know, let's say it was to get knocked over, then it's going to shut it down. And you can hear it also. You can hear the switch engage whenever you lean the heater over. I'll try to be quiet. Maybe the camera will pick it up. You can hear that switch. It makes just a knocking noise. So sometimes that switch can stick up. So if you're trying to light the heater, it says right here, the unit has a tip over switch. If the pilot lights but the burner does not, it might be engaged. To correct this, turn the unit upside down and give it a good shake. This should engage the tip over switch. So basically, let's turn it upside and you can shake it. And you can actually hear it. And then you set it upright and then try to light it again, and it should disengage that switch and make it to where you can actually light the heater. It's recommended that you run a carbon monoxide detector along with a smoke detector, and also make sure that you leave adequate room and a distance between combustibles. So here in the manual it says from the top you're supposed to have at least 17 inches of clearance, and then the front and sides and around the unit you're supposed to have at least 15 inches. So you know, you want to measure at least 15 inches away from the edge of the heater. And you know, truthfully, it's not going to hurt to give it even more space so things don't heat up around it. Make sure you don't leave anything flammable near it. So this heater is equipped with an oxygen depletion sensor, an ODS sensor. And it's just an extra safety feature that it has on this the heater, and to keep it from you know, using up all the oxygen out of the room. But I would definitely run a carbon monoxide and smoke detector with it, just as an extra precaution, as with any heater. Alright, so I appreciate you guys watching the video. So sorry it was so long and drawn out, but I appreciate you watching to the very end. There's a lot of information that you have to go over, lots of warning and all this kind of, you know, information that is just stuff that you need to know whenever you're using a heater like this. And you know, if there's something that I didn't go over or I missed, so you can always refer back to the user manual. Pretty much everything that you'll want to know is in here. And you know, one thing I wanted to point out, I'm not liable. Make sure that you read your owner's manual and go through it. And you know, you are responsible for, you know, lighting this. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope this video helped somebody out, helped answer some questions. And I'm sure I didn't go through everything. It would take literally hours to go through this whole manual. But you know, I just tried to go through and hit the highlights. So again, if there's something you have a question on, go back and refer to the manual. Now this is the part number PPH360-18 comfort gear heater. Till next time, see ya.